Welcome to the new look Highland League Weekly Friday preview show, coming to you on both the Press and Journal website and direct to social media, including places like YouTube. First up, Callum Law tells us all we need to know about this weekend's two highlights games.
The main game this weekend for Highland League Weekly is a clash between two of the title challengers. It's Buckie Thistle against Brora Rangers at Victoria Park. Buckie currently 10 points ahead of Brora in the table, but the Carters do have 2 games in hand.
Oh, Callum, usually so accurate. Brora have 4 games in hand on Saturday's opponents, Buckie. They've got 2 in hand on current leaders, Breedon City.
For whoever loses, if there is a winner, for whoever loses, it'll be a big blow to their hopes of trying to win the league. A draw really wouldn't suit either side, but it wouldn't be a massive surprise if that was the outcome. It's 2 evenly matched sides. One previous meeting this season, which was in the Challenge Cup, it finished 1-1 and Buckie triumphed 4-2 on penalties. I would expect similar drama and excitement again when they meet this time. It's a massive game in the context of the league season, and it's all set up to be a cracker.
Probably say Wick away or Breedon away right now. It's always a good banter and that on the bus, and so I'd definitely say that.
Okay, we need to do this week's quiz. Last week's question was a testing one. Who was the longest serving boss currently working in the Highland League? The answer, of course, was Graham Stewart, the Buckie Thistle manager, although we would have accepted Spider as well as an answer. The winner, who must email their details to sport@pressandjournal.co.uk, is Stephen McLean. Unclear whether it's the referee, Stephen McLean, but I hope so. This week's quiz question will give you another chance to win a Highland League Weekly mug, although I believe there are Crystal Paul tea towels en route, so we could give it, we might need to, either we choose or you choose, or, we'll work it out. The question is going to be, Scott Buchan recently returned to EVERY Locos, their former manager, but he's joined their committee this time around. Who, though, was Scott co-manager at Locos with between 2010 and 2017? Let's
16.
2016. Let us know in the comments below.
The second game for us this weekend on Highland League Weekly is Banks against Rothes at Spain Park, and here's 3 things you need to know. The sides have met once already this season in the reverse Breedon Highland League fixture at McKessick Park. Rothes won 2-0 on that occasion, courtesy of a goal of the season contender from Aidan Wilson. That was Banks first game after their points deduction as well. It's Banks first game since Paul Lawson and Josh Winton were appointed as co-managers until the end of the season. They'll be looking to make a positive impression in both the league and the Highland League Cup between now and the end of the campaign. Rothes, although they've been hampered by postponements in recent times, they're actually in very good form in the Breedon Highland League. They've only lost one of their last 6 fixtures and they've taken 13 points from a possible 18.
Okay, welcome to Crystal Paul, or Crystal Bald, as we're calling it this week. Paul Third isn't here because he's on holiday. Who'd have seen that coming? Just a reminder how this game works. We're filming 2 games this weekend, so what me and Jamie are going to try and do is predict the right result in those games. If we do that, we get 1 point. If we get the correct score, we get 3 points instead, and we're also going to try and predict the first goal scorer in each of those matches. Last week, first points on the board, Paul correctly predicted to the results. So he got 2 points and I managed to get 1. I managed to get for Martin's win against Keith. So I got 1 point. So you'll see the leaderboard that we all fancy on the screen right now. But let's move on to this week's matches. This weekend's main game is Buckie Thistle against Brora Rangers. Jamie?
I'm going to go for 2-1 to Buckie Thistle.
Okay, just to confirm reports, I don't make these predictions until I stand up here. I have nothing in my head until, well, most times, but especially when I'm up here. I don't know the score that I'm going for yet, but I think Buckie Thistle to win this one 3-2.
Who's your first scorer?
My first goal scorer is going to be Josh Peters. Cover yourself.
I'm going to take Andy McCaskill.
He's a Jamie in a bottle. Gonna call it the right way. Banks a D against Rothes. Jamie, I'll let you go first.
I am going to go bang down the middle for this one, and I'm going to say 1-1.
1-1. I remember Rothes causing D problems earlier this season, Cal. Is that right?
Aye, that's right.
See?
Were you not listening to my earlier remarks?
I'm going to have Banks a D to win this one. I think I said before 3-2 is the most common score in the Highland League. I mean, that's pseudoscience. Banks a D to win this one 3-2. First goal scorer?
I'm going for Rothes' Greg Morrison.
I'm going to go for Banks a D's Hamish McLeod. Don't let me down, Hamish. Right. Give us your predictions in the comments for both these games. I'm sure yours will vary hugely from what we've, well, two idiots have predicted is going to happen, and we'll see next Friday who's picked up points. Jamie's points just count as Paul's points. Let's not overcomplicate it.
I was working from home all the time. Wife was working from home, and it was just constant. And as you know, with football, it's very lively. It's a full-time job, and things are constant. It's that on top of my work, on top of sleepless nights at the time, I just found it very difficult, and I felt I just broke a routine. I broke a balance that I just couldn't control.
Nairn on a terrific run of form. They've only lost once in 11 games. Still in the hunt potentially to finish 6th. Strathspey, meanwhile, they've only won once this season. Still at this moment without a permanent replacement for Charlie Brown, but they'll be hoping for a pick-me-up in this game.
Clack will have striker Paul Brindle coming up against the club he left in the summer. Meanwhile, Forres, who were beaten 2-1 against Turriff last weekend, will have defender Rory Fraser back again after 3 months out.
Inverurie looking for their first win under returning boss Andy Lowe. Came up against Buckie and Fraserburgh in his first games. Didn't score in any of those either. Locos, Lossiemouth, meanwhile, will have to be taking their chances to get anything out of this one. It's worth saying, back in October, Locos, under former boss Richard Hastings, won the reverse fixture 3-2.
It's only a week and a half since the sides met. That was in the Morrison Motors Turriff Aberdeenshire Shield. Fraserburgh ran out convincing 6-0 winners at Christie Park. Huntly will be looking for a much better performance this time around.
For Martin, make the short trip to Turriff in fine form, with Aidan Coombe having scored 5 goals in his last 4 games. Turriff, who won impressively against Forres a week ago, will have to be at the defensive best to keep out of free scoring for Martin.
Brechin taking the longest trip in the Highland League this weekend, but with Brechin, they need to win every week. It's what's demanded of them. We know they've got plenty of goal scoring threat in their team. We see it most weeks. Wick will have to be better than they were in the first half at Banks of D on Saturday, where they shipped 6 goals to take anything from this one.
There's only 3 points between the sides in the Highland League table, but both of them are looking for their first win of 2023.
That's it for this week's Highland League Weekly Friday preview show. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave us a comment wherever you're watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join the Highland League Weekly Facebook group. Do whatever you can to support us, basically. I really appreciate it. Just a reminder, Monday's Highland League Weekly main highlights show will have highlights of Brora Rangers against Buckie Thistle
At Victoria.
at Victoria Park. Buckie Thistle against Brora and Banks a D against Rothes, so you can tune in for that one when it goes live, probably between tea time and 7 o'clock. It'll be 7, will it? Tea time? 7? Tea time. Try to go a bit earlier for you, it's a little treat. But yeah, enjoy the football, whichever games you're watching this weekend, and we'll see you next time.